Mabuhay, this is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea, a channel about marriage to a woman from the Philippines. This is going to be part 3 of a topic called When to Stop Chatting with a Filipina. It comes from an article in Psychology Today. I'm just using their points, but relating it to a person like me that would marry somebody from another country, such as the Philippines, like I did in 2015. So in addition to the other ways I've talked about, and please subscribe here to Love Beyond the Sea, and don't be afraid to leave a comment. I'll probably be coughing now and then, probably for the rest of my life, so anyway, I can't do anything about it. So today's point is you walk on eggshells. You walk on eggshells or duck contact, or your partner does. That's when you know it's time to stop chatting, even if maybe you've put quite a bit of time into it. And like I said earlier, initially you both want to be civil, not critical, but if you persist in giving a Filipina a chance because you like something about her, but are uncomfortable talking about certain things, then it may be time to keep looking or ask yourself why you haven't. And today's video ought to generate some response from you as I get into the weeds more of relationships of this type than I think any other channel in the Philippines seen. Since the foreigner is looking to make a large investment, he has to, in time and money, and this involves some risk and trust, and there shouldn't be a topic that is taboo if he thinks he needs to know. Let's say the Filipina doesn't want to know about past relationships or is hesitant to talk about present ones. You know, she just doesn't want to get into her past. You know, that could be a red flag. I know it would be for some men. If he is dying to know something but feels like continuing to pry for that information results in her becoming upset with him, I would just probably try to find out or why or move on. I made a recent video about how to ask about your Filipina's sexual past. To give you an example of what I'm referring to, if he is afraid to ask about her jobs in the past because she gets upset, maybe because she hasn't worked much, that's common, or maybe she hasn't gone to college and doesn't feel good about that, and she wants to change the subject, he might need to really force the issue by saying, excuse me, if he isn't going to be honest with him, then he is moving on. Then again, another video I made is about a Filipina inquiring about a man's line of work or how well he can support her financially. That should not be a topic where you're walking on eggshells, in my opinion. I think he should just tell her, and if he can't get straight answers, or tell her about his what he does and how he thinks the financial future could go. Obviously, you never know, but if she has one idea that's far off from reality, then he has to talk about it, not get married, and then she is shocked at the situation when she gets to his country. Are you comfortable asking about her past relationships? Maybe you want to, but you're not sure you should. And the other way around, is she seeing someone else now? Is she seeing somebody right now? I've heard guys ask that question because they don't want to assume that she's not. So they think maybe I just ought to ask, or maybe she says no and they still don't believe her. When you're thousands of miles away, you just never know, right? And I understand that, you want to avoid things that could end a good thing. But recently, a friend of mine told his girlfriend in the Philippines that she shouldn't expect to be making return trips back home if they get married to the Philippines, unless it's because a family member is seriously ill. And I'm sure many other guys have said the exact same thing, are in the same situation. Because, she likely has no idea how far away she is really until she flies there, and doesn't probably know that money isn't just handed out around here. And is it a terrible idea, for example, to be upfront about the topic of sexual intimacy? Does this cause one or both of you to walk on eggshells? Well, I don't think it should. I mean, if it does, I'm not going to tell you it shouldn't for you, but for me it wouldn't. Who knows what she's expecting in this very important area of sexual intimacy? And she doesn't know what he's expecting either, probably. I wouldn't make assumptions here. Here's another one. Having a child. Are you going to start a family together? Why did it get so quiet in here? What about she's going to learn to drive the car, isn't she? She's going to learn, to work, right? What about going to school? Get some schooling here. Is she going to do that? What about having some young friends here her age? She'll talk about that. She probably would like that. I don't think a younger woman wants to be around older people all her life. I don't think that's even reasonable. And I almost forgot to talk about financially supporting her family because we do so much on these channels. And I think a husband should, after considering how to work this out along with his wife, don't just support everybody. But even before that, there could be some tension about talking about this. It's possible that she won't ask about money or for money. Not likely, though. It's possible, like my wife did when we were engaged, which was pretty quick, 18 days. She might say she doesn't need money from me. Well, that's pretty unlikely. And after we got married in 2015, of course, we were married and go through this visa wait. I'm insisting that she accept my help. She said she still didn't need it, which made me kind of upset. I said, we're married now. It's my job to provide for you, so you don't have anything to prove. You don't have to prove to me you're competent. I already know you are. So this topic about giving money to Filipina and her family can cause people to walk on eggshells if any other topic can. And the other part of this video, or the article I'm talking about, was about ducking contact. And just in a few minutes here, which I suppose is because one or the other wants to avoid talking about something, so they just kind of make themselves unavailable. But, if she goes absent without leave for 3 or 4 days, maybe she got sick. But even then, telling you that she doesn't feel well or doesn't feel like talking, but certainly will when she feels better, that could be true or not. It could be stalling. Only time will tell. Listen to your gut feelings, but it is a good idea to share anything you are suspicious of with someone you trust. You can leave a private message on TikTok for me, or leave me a question here or a comment on YouTube. So maybe we can find out what's going on there. And she might even give you the I love you line to avoid answering uncomfortable questions, to back you off, as if I tell him I love him, he's going to stop asking me these questions because he'll think it doesn't matter. But as I have said repeatedly, and this is apparently just my belief, after he'd been married several years, then you can evaluate whether love exists. Before that, probably best just to ignore it. Things are much more difficult when you are already with somebody, and that's just your own age, not to mention age gap, generation, differences, distance, and so on, cultural differences. So how's that for ending a video? Stay tuned for part 4 of When to Stop Chatting with a Filipina here on Love Beyond the Sea.